The new year brings a new anime season, and as our hearts start to freeze in this winter weather, how about we warm up with a bit of romance?
どうか俺の妻になってほしい。
This season is bringing yet another packed batch of animes, but we have two things that stand out for this season: romance and isekai. And we're not just talking about the generic stuff. We have isekai, reverse isekai, reverse isekai. Now that's what I call barely isekai, and not really isekai, but just fantasy. And on the romance side, we have the return of the king, and the first yaoi anime in 2 years. So let's take a closer look at what this season is bringing us. It may just be me, but winter is always my favorite season of the year. The white snow, the comfy feeling of tucking yourself in a blanket, drinking hot cocoa, the big-breasted gal that is interested in me. You know, typical winter. And no anime depicts this feeling better than Hokkaido Girls Are Super Adorable. Following an introverted guy that recently moved from Tokyo to a small town in Hokkaido, as he meets a friendly girl that is fascinated by the big city and quickly becomes interested in him. Based on the character designs, I was expecting something more ecchi, but surprisingly, it is one of the most wholesome animes of the season, showing the blooming relationship between an unexpected pair as love starts to blossom. Well, maybe just a bit ecchi. Well, after that I guess I need a palate cleanser. Let's do something more pure. I guess a magical girl anime can do the trick.
やってしまった。自分の手で魔法少女を。
Oh god. Gushing over magical girls is basically one of those hentai magical girl animes if the author was too afraid to go all the way. We have the girl in love with magical girls as she is given powers by an evil organization, and after being forced to fight her idols, she realizes something. I might be into S&M. If you're looking for an extremely ecchi anime and want to watch some Yuri action, why not try gushing over magical girls? Okay, seriously, after so much ecchi anime, can we get something less explicit? Now, that's what I'm talking about. Chain Soldier is the type of anime that was made specifically for 15-year-olds. It is edgy, it is ecchi for no reason, and you know our main character will never try anything with the girls, so you know it's safe. It is a really simple plot of a world where women get superpowers and fight monsters, and of course a high school boy that can turn into a powerful monster by the power of one girl that needs to give him a reward every time he transforms. This is the textbook definition of guys, I swear. I only watched this for the plot. But if you like the slave-master relationship, then why don't take a look at The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil, in which a devil is tasked with searching the human world for a charismatic leader, only to end up fighting against an angel that puts a collar on him and treats him like a slave. You know, the usual. It is not the most exciting anime, but if you like S&M and lollies, this is for you. We have a few random animes like Buchigiri, that takes elements from Aladdin into a high school fighting anime, and it was made by Studio Mappa, but so far the anime hasn't really appealed to me yet. Brave Bang Braven, that is a boring anime with mechs that belong to different countries fighting aliens. And for some reason episode 2 had a torture waterboarding side plot with the main guy having PTSD by the end of it. We get the return of Urusei Yatsura for its second season with more of the rom-com with the original best girl. We also get the sequel of Shaman King in Shaman King Flowers, following Jo's son and more of the story of the kids fighting kids. Classroom of Elite comes back for a third season with more weird tests and plans that are way too complicated for a high schooler to make. As well as the third season of Blue Exorcist. I remember loving this series so much when I was younger, but Season 2 disappointed me a bit. Let's hope the third season brings back the nostalgia. And Mashle is back, baby! With more shonen action comedy, but you know what we're here for. The next TikTok dance. But if you're looking for something more relaxed with less stakes, how about the story of a woman reincarnated into another world, tasked by the god to decide if he should wipe out humanity? But how about she just reborns as a cute girl and spends time petting fluffy animals and becoming friends with dragons? Or a Power Ranger villain taking a day off and going to the zoo? I mean, look at the cute panda. I promise when I wipe humanity, I will let you live, buddy. There is also the weakest tamer picking up trash. That has to take the cake for weakest use of isekai trope ever. A girl with almost no powers gets pushed out of her town and fends for herself, becoming friends with a weak slime and living off the land by killing small monsters. But here is the catch. She can hear a tingling voice in her head that is a second personality from another world. So it is technically an isekai, guys, I promise. But if you think you can take some hardcore fantasy, take a look at It Is Time for Torture Princess, in which the Princess of a Kingdom is captured by the Demon Lord and tortured in the most horrible ways.
Shh.
You animals have no heart. Moving on to more adult isekais, we have Tales of Wedding Rings, in which a guy is so down bad for his childhood friend that he willingly follows her to another world. This is a more generic isekai with a hero demon lord trope and a full harem waiting for him, but I appreciate the tasteful use of ecchi elements. Moving on, we have a bit of a slow-paced anime in The Strongest Tank Ever in Raid, following a tank kicked out of the hero party, returning back to his hometown to live a slow life. It is weird, cause I remember an anime with a really similar premise. Guys, you're not gonna believe this. We have the second season of Banished from the Hero Party. Out of all the slow life fantasy anime, this is the most decent one. But I personally don't like this genre of fantasy that much. If you're looking for a classic dungeon crawler fantasy anime, Unwanted Undead Adventure feels like a typical dungeon exploring video game with some RPG elements. A guy dies and becomes a skeleton. Now, he needs to kill monsters in order to evolve into a more human form. Honestly, this feels like the Spider Isekai, but with less CGI and a bit less of personality. But overall, it is a really enjoyable watch if you're looking for a good old RPG. Tsukimichi 2 is also back with more of the story of an ugly guy making a harem of monster girls while fighting humanity. And if you're looking for something that breaks the mold, take a look at My Instant Death ability is overpowered.
死ね。
At first, I thought this anime is the combination of all the worst tropes of an isekai. But as the story went on, I realized it is actually making fun of them. Now imagine this. Main guy gets transported to another world with his whole class. Everyone with 5 students get abilities and ditch them. He apparently already had an instant death ability before coming to this world and can kill anything just by telling them to kill themselves. But the tropes don't end there. 3 of the classmates come back to kill them, and turns out they had a mastery of their abilities because they were previously reincarnated to the same world. Moving on to episode 2, they bring out the mechs, and by episode 3, a classmate forms a slave harem as they go into the 21st century skyscraper city, even though last episode they were in a rural medieval town. And the episode ends with a zombie outbreak. If that is not taking a jab at anime tropes, I don't know what it is. The wrong way to use healing magic answers the question, what if instead of redo of a healer, we actually made a realistic healing isekai? As our main guy gets transported to another world by accident, ends up with healing powers, and is sent to a training camp with a Sari superior. This is a fun shonen isekai that anyone can enjoy. But if you're looking for something a bit more edgy, look no further than Ishura. A world where the true Demon King was defeated, but no one knows by whom. We follow the story of multiple warriors that strive to become the true hero of the world as they fight powerful enemies. This feels like an edgier Octopath Traveler and I'm loving it. No main protagonist, just follow a different overpowered character each episode as he fights an enemy. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there is Yuri bait in the first episode. Also, on the edgier side, we have the Witch and the Beast. In a world full of witches, a wizard, and what I think is an immortal girl that I think can transport her mind into a huge guy, fight against said witches looking for a witch that cursed the girl. So far, I'm loving the relationship between the two protagonists, but I'm still not sure about the power system of the world. Now, if you're looking for a unique premise, Sasaki and Pips has you covered. As a salaryman buys a pet bird only to discover that the bird is in reality a powerful sage. That shares his powers and now he is able to travel between worlds, as he plans to sell products to earn money. Similar to the saving 80k gold in Another World anime. But there is a plot twist. Back into his home world, he discovers psychics, and gets dragged into a government position fighting rogue psychics, all of this while maintaining his business in Another World, in a seamlessly combined double isekai anime. And his high schooler neighbor is secretly a yandere towards him. Now that's how you get my attention. Moving out of the isekais, we have a new original anime in Metallic Rogue. A futuristic setting in which androids are an everyday sight. There are a few androids that appear human but have immense power, as the red android is set on destroying the 9 rebellious androids that are free on Mars. Honestly, so far this anime is looking good. The character design feel a bit copy-paste from Excel World, but has a nice aesthetic. The animation can sometimes look really smooth, and I personally love this scene. But I'm always cautious towards original animes, because they are famous for dropping the ball in the final act. Looking at you, Wonder Egg Priority? But if there's something that we have plenty of this season, it is romance. We start off with the first yaoi anime in 2 years, with Cherry Magic, telling the story of a guy who after 30 years of being a virgin, acquires the ability to read the mind of anyone he touches, only to discover that the handsome senpai at work is actually in love with him, as he struggles between not being gay but he kinda hot. There are also 3 main villainess animes this season, and as a villainess enjoyer, it is a good time to be alive. First, we have the Level 99 Villainess, the actual Otome Game villainess anime of this season, in which a girl gets reincarnated into the world of an Otome game, as the hidden boss villainess, decides she doesn't want to have anything to do with the captured targets, and proceeds to level up to 99 while she's young to have a head start. I love her stoic personality, and I think that the bait and switch of the first episode, in which they followed the original story of the Otome game up to the middle part of the episode, was kind of funny. If you love stoic girls, then this one's for you. Then we have the reverse isekai, in which the queen of a country is killed after a rebellion, reincarnates into modern day world and becomes a doctor, and after dying in a tragic accident, comes back to before she became engaged with the prince, vowing to use her knowledge in medicine and the future to save as many lives as possible. This one I really enjoyed. I think it's a good drama and I'm loving the main character in her redemption arc. But the 7th loop villainess takes the edge for me. Following the story of a noble daughter as her engagement with the prince is annulled and she is exiled. She lives a fulfilling life as a merchant but dies 5 years later, and goes back in time to the moment of her annulment. No matter what she does, she always dies 5 years in the future, because of a war between kingdoms. And now, in her 7th life, she tries to live a more leisure life, as she is proposed by the prince of the kingdom that started the war and who killed her in the previous loop. Seeing her using her past knowledge and trying to live a stress-free life while also having this romance story with the prince is ticking all my villainous anime boxes and I'm loving it. Another interesting romance anime this season is A Sign of Affection, telling the love story of a deaf girl and a guy who loves to travel around the world. This one is a really cute and solid romance, but I wish they had done a bit more with the deaf girl concept. I do not have a hearing impediment or have any friends with this disability, so I can only talk about this with my perspective on how I would treat someone in this situation. But I feel like everyone is expecting her to read lips way too much.
今日の服変じゃないよね。
And sometimes they don't even look at her while talking. And even her mom and her closest friend in school are not even using sign language towards her. I could understand her friend, but come on, her mom is not even trying. Aside from that, the interactions with the main guy look genuine to me, as he tries to slow down his words to make it easier for her to read lips, and is actively trying to learn sign language. But the undisputed GOAT of the romance has to be the return of the Dangers in My Heart for Season 2. It is the perfect depiction of a love slowly blooming.
ありがとうね。
You can't help but love the relationship between the two main characters. And ending with some hype, first we have Delicious in Dungeon, which I can only describe as a fantasy food wars.
本当だうまい
As a group of adventurers is set on saving their companion as she was eaten by a dragon. The only issue is that they don't have money for food, so their only option is to kill a monster and eat them. I love the world setting in which you can get revived, but they need to save her before she gets digested by the dragon. And the interaction between characters and reactions towards eating monsters is priceless. The whole aesthetic of the series is such a vibe.
ほら、やっぱ人食い植物の木の実じゃ。
But let's talk about the most hyped anime of the season. Coming from one of the most hyped and talked about Korean manhwas ever, Solo Leveling had a lot of expectations to fill. And while the first episode was a bit slow with all the setup, episode 2 came out swinging, and it solidifying the story as the most hype of the season. Action is on point, barely any CG in the important moments, and a nice depiction of gore and blood. Let's keep watching this one because it will be a banger. And those are all the animes for winter 2023. What did you guys thought of this season? Which anime is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, see you guys next time.